Yeah. Glad to get the win. Happy for our guys. 2-0 in the conference now, 4-2 on the year after starting 1-2 versus a tough opening slate. Thought our guys really from the opening kick to the end really played pretty quality football. There's plenty of areas to clean up and a lot of things we have to address to get better in the next week during the bye. But it's always good to go into the bye with a win, and happy for our guys to get to victory today. So with that, I'll open it up.
I guess I'll start with the only negative, Alex Bauman.
Yeah.
What did you see? I mean, he got up and he was walking.
Yeah.
Usually when they bring that vehicle out, that's not a good sign.
It looked really bad live.
Okay.
To me, I was extremely concerned. X-rays showed nothing, no fracture.
Okay.
Might be like a sprain.
Mhm.
It could potentially a low ankle sprain, not a high, and maybe an MCL. We're not really sure yet. Some of that we'll have to find out more tomorrow. But they did imaging on X-ray for tib fib, ankle, foot, knee, all of it. Everything looked good, is my understanding at halftime. They even said, "Hey, we can put him a sleeve," and I'm like, the score, whatever it was, I'm like, no, he's good. Like, let's get him healthy. And so, I we'll know more the next couple of days. But I feel the way his foot, I was worried his foot was in the ground and it had one of those nasty turns. And that's you see that a lot in like tib fib breaks, and that's a substantial injury. When you went back and watched it, the nice thing now is we have these surfaces or iPads, whatever they're called, during the game that we can look at, which we hadn't been able to look at before.
Mhm.
And you could see his foot wasn't in the ground. His cleat came out. And so that kind of saved him, because if his foot had been in the ground, it probably would have been very substantial. But it might be a week. We're going into a bye week, which is nice.
Yeah.
It might be two. I don't know his availability yet for Rice, but it doesn't look like as serious as what I initially thought.
Um, They plays all over the
Yeah.
field. Special teams, defense, offense. You had said you wanted the Tulane, this to be the Tulane team that shows up every week.
Yeah.
Good start here.
Well, yeah, I really emphasized to our guys. We knew that this UAB team was going to play with a chip on their shoulder and play desperate to go get a win, because they had, to some degree, had their backs against the walls, maybe, right? And so we knew we were going to get a hungry team. I told our team, if they're desperate, we have to understand that our desperation has to be desperate to dominate.
Mhm.
Like, we got to continue to try to impose our will by how we play and how we bring it and how we execute and how we prepare and how we encourage each other and all that stuff. And so I was very pleased with the approach this week.
Mhm.
I think the team took the game very intentionally with their focus and didn't coast through the week, and it showed.
Their very first play was a trick play where they tried to throw back to the quarterback.
Yeah,
It turned into a 9-yard loss.
yeah, I called trick play on the first play. I told the dude staff, so I like this morning, I was like, I bet they're going to run a trick play on the first play, like, or maybe the first drive. But I even said I thought they'd have a trick play every drive of the game. I don't think that held up, but they did have that trick play. They had several screens that I thought were fairly effective against us. But the first trick play of the game, I kind of had a hunch that something like that was coming early. I thought it was either going to be that or a shot or a double move on the perimeter, try to hit explosive.
And coach, both of your quarterbacks came in and played well and kind of did their jobs. What did you see from both Mensa and Thompson throughout the game?
Yeah, Mensa did a nice job. I thought he was pretty efficient. 12 of 15, didn't throw it a ton. Got in a situation, once the score's up, I'm not interested in like see how many times we can throw it. I mean, we threw it 18 times on the day, I think, right? And so he was 12 of 15. He had a touchdown. Ty was 2 of 3, had one touchdown. He should have had the second one. He airmailed the one on the little run action, Tebow jump pass kind of deal. But I thought they both played really well. It's been fun to watch Ty get in. I like Ty's such a hardworking guy, and he's handled not winning the starting job with class. And he's really made our team better, and his approach has really made everybody around him better. It's made me better. So I think both those guys played good. Didn't lean on the pass game as much today. Felt like we could, control the game by running it. We've kind of seesawed back and forth by which way we lean, run game, pass game, depending on what the other team's willing to give us.
And you also had 3 running backs that recorded 80 rushing yards or more during this game. What did you kind of see from that running back room today?
Well, Mekhi Hughes is maybe the most consistent guy on our team. I mean, he doesn't say a peep. You get him to open his mouth and talk. You got to challenge yourself sometimes to do that. He's a great kid. had his longest touchdown of his career today with 51-yarder, which was awesome to see. I think he's improved his long speed. 15 carries for 119 and 2 tutties. That's a pretty good stat line. Jamari went 10 for 84 as a true freshman. Makai's from Birmingham. Jamari's from South Alabama too. He's from the Wiregrass region. So 2 Alabama kids came in and really performed well. And then due to going 11 for 82, I thought he played pretty good. And Shoddy had a few runs in there, but I think those guys really flashed and showed that we've got. I've been on our offensive staff and our running back room that we need to like develop the depth. We all know who Makai is. Who's the next guy and who's going to bring value as the next guy or the next couple guys. And so it's good to see Jamari. Jamari might have played himself into not redshirting today. He's kind of been one of those guys that he's coming up on, I think, this was game 2 or 3 for him, where you get to the game 6 and we got, at least 6 more regular season opportunities and then hopefully some postseason opportunity. And, we'll probably have to make a decision here because I think right now he might be playing like our second best back when he gets the ball in his hands.
I'd say once he had the ball in his hands,
he's dangerous.
I mean,
he's dangerous.
We saw this in the preseason, and we saw it again. It's hard to keep a guy like that on.
It's very, very rare to see a freshman with his physical abilities. I mean, he's a 10-400 meter guy who runs the ball with physicality and grit and toughness, and he's a hard tackle. I mean, anytime there's contact, I'll never forget, as long as I live, there was a play in inside run in training camp where I'm not going to say the other guy's name to save his pride, but he hit one of our defensive linemen in the hole, and the defensive lineman buckled and Jamari didn't. And it was like, dadgum. Like, he runs behind his pads. He's got a lot of power.
Sam Howard, he made the first huge defensive play in a series of them with the massive hit that turned into an interception.
Yeah, Sam's been a great addition, tremendous worker, great leader, incredibly tough. Sam does something on most Tuesday and Wednesday practice days that you guys don't see, and comes in our team meeting with his full helmet and shoulder pads on, ready to go practice. Like, he's just wired different a little bit. He's got a tremendous story too. He's from Shades Valley, right down the road here in Birmingham. Went to Austin P out of high school, was a walk-on at Austin P, and was a 2-time captain, all-conference player from a walk-on. And then when he went in the transfer portal, we had to beat a lot of Power 4 teams on him. I mean, there's a handful of teams in that mix, and I'm glad he's on our football team. He's added a ton of value in between the white lines, but he's added a ton of value to our locker room too. He's a culture guy for sure.
When it gets out of hand like that, what were you looking for anyway?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to.
They're sitting there calling timeouts and elongating the game.
Yeah, that's their decision. I'm not worried about when they call their timeouts. They get to use them when they want. I don't care on that. I wasn't trying to score really. I'm trying to see. We had Elijah Baker in at center, true freshman. Darion Reed at tackle. Landry Cannon at tackle. We're rolling a lot of our youngsters in the game. I wanted to see those guys play snaps. If I'd have had it my way, we could have driven the ball down to the 1 every time and then given it back at that point. I wasn't worried about the scoreboard. I was worried about guys getting experience, and getting developed, not trying to score. I mean, there's a couple of those touchdowns where I'm like, the one on the tie through to the end zone to Yul Keith, that wasn't supposed to go there, but they covered where he was trying to throw it. So it's like, well, you want me to throw an interception or you want me to throw to the open guy? And so he took the open guy, which I'm good with. We weren't trying to score there either, to be quite honest. It was a run with a little check down where the run didn't feel as accessible. The check down didn't feel as comfortable to him. And so he took the open throw on the field, which I was like, all right, I get it. But just, you want to get guys reps. The guys work incredibly hard to not let them go play a little. But we weren't really trying to score any more points.
We're so deep defensively. I think all the big interception plays came from guys that aren't starters. But
you had Javion, right, and you had Champagne who had the deflection, right, and then you had Chris Rogers. So all 3 are technically backups. Yeah.
How much does that just help your coaches? Obviously in this situation it was games out of hand, but you've been playing the backups all year long and getting them lots of reps and live.
And we try to roll guys through. I think Javion White's going to be a special player. He's a great athlete, loves football. Chris Rogers getting back kind of into the groove of where we expect him to be. And then Champagne's been a steady player in the D-line group. So it's fun to watch those guys get action, and when they get action, do something with it.
Rayshon Pleasant's the first player in school history with 2 kickoff returns for touchdowns.
Yeah, well, and that one he had today wasn't blocked great. You know, me and Greg McMahon, our special teams coordinator on the headset, I looked at Mac and I said, "Hey, it's nice having the right returner because we didn't block it great." I'm not saying everybody missed their blocks, but it wasn't the one from a couple weeks against Lafayette that was blocked well and it was a great return. This one was it was a little bit bloody. We didn't really block it real clean. But when you put the ball in a guy like that's hands, good things usually happen. And I'm so proud of Ray, man. He's worked his tail off. He's one of the hardest working guys on our team. You know, he went through a little injury in the spring, was out a lot, and you'd see him out there by himself doing drills that he's passionate about his craft, and he's a great young man, and I'm really proud of what he's doing.
And coach, after a game like this, what's the message to the team? Obviously, you pick up a lot of momentum, but
Yeah.
moving forward, what's the message to the team?
Well, I told them 2-0 in the conference, 4-2 after being 1-2 to start. I'm proud of the response that our guys have had through maybe a bumpy start of the year. And it's nice to get the bye. I told them, you know, they'll have tomorrow off. And then I told them they get to sleep in 1 extra hour on Monday. So we won't start at 7 a.m. We'll start at 8 a.m. So we're still showing up to work next week. You know, I got to say during the bye weeks, don't get by, get better. Like we ain't getting by. Like we got to work to get better at a lot of things next week or we're going to get exposed. And, you know, we got a good stretch of teams coming up. So we got to, during the bye week, find areas for us to improve and grow and develop as a team. Thank y'all. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Something, dog. Man, you kidding me? Appreciate you. Yeah. Oh.